Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
You do this camp too? Two camps. She's in charge of the camp at Gita Nagari. Really? I've gone to the Gita Nagari camp twice, but I guess you have to do some special tapasya to get an invitation to the Naperville camp. I haven't been invited to that one yet. How long is this one? No. Wow. That's quite a certification that she did it for 30 years and she turns it over to you. That's really 8 years. But Gita Nagari just for 2 years so far. Okay. So you get the day camp down and then you went to the, wow, that's great. It's really important. So Premananda, how many of those, well, we can talk later. I'm curious, how many of those kids that went to that camp are now devotees as adults? What percentage? Because that's the goal, right? We want the kids to have a good time, but because I know in Washington I meet so many big shots of Indian origin who went to the Chinmoya school. What are they called? Bal Bazaar or something? Totally impersonalist in their mentality. Nice people, very pious, but very few of them exposed to Vaishnava philosophy, and they're basically impersonalists. Very big jobs, you know. Secretary of this, undersecretary of that, and very respectful to ISKCON, but philosophically not really exposed to devotional culture. So hopefully the kids that are going there, they're...
I had a conversation with Prabhu on that, because what is happening is if the parents are practicing, most of the children, they see some value in it and they see
Yeah, of course.
then there is the other whole group of still maintain some connections with them, so we won't lose them.
Or you could have a special college student prasadam service. You could save all the mothers. They don't have to cook for their kids. They just come to the temple Sunday afternoon. They buy prepackaged prasadam for the students for the whole week. And they'll be eating Krishna prasad. And at the end of 4 years, they'll be pure devotees. You could do that also. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pecharine Nirvesesha Shunyavadi Paschachari Satadine. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Govinda. Hey Gopal. Hey Radhe. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey Govinda. Hey Gopal. Hey Radhe. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody. Everybody together one more time. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra ki, Vaishnav Sangha ki, Gaur Premanande Haribol. Srila Prabhupada ki. That was very nice. I never saw so many old people inspired by so many young people in one room. It's very nice. Good. Yeah, good thing these are high ceilings, huh? Some of the older homes, I think these are 9 feet, maybe? 9.5. Yeah, if they were 8 feet, it'd be too low. So, yeah, actually, you can stay. Yeah, I use that as a stand. So, Hare Krishna. So we have Achintya Chaitanya. Ananda Chaitanya Prabhu is here with his colleague. And they're on the entranceway. In a few minutes, we'll talk a little bit, maybe have some discussion. And then they have these beautiful sets of Shivaram Swami's books, absolutely beautiful, stunning. So much so that in the 10 weeks they've been here, 10 weeks traveling all over the country, they left the best places for last. Okay? They've already sold 300 sets of these books. Wow. 440. Oh, they had 300, they sold an extra 140. Wonderful. But they still have some to show as a sample, so when we leave tonight, if you stop and take a look at those beautiful books. And I think also they have a video from Shivaram Swami we're going to show a little bit later, talking about those books, those beautiful books. So that's the highlight of the evening. And so look forward to that. So what time do you normally serve prasad? Where's the host? Like now? Really now? All right, we can just go to the prasadam then. That's okay. Next mantra. Sadhida Vijaya. Really now, this time? Okay, wow, okay. Yeah, or the crowd leaves. They can't handle that many people in that little hallway there, so. Okay, so we'll make it short. So I was going to read from, I was asking my host on the way over here, what would be a good topic for this community? And he said, this is a very serious and mature community in Naperville. So maybe they need to hear something about how do we fulfill our commitments, and I think he even said not overstretch ourselves. He's left already. Oh, there he is. Okay. Yeah, right? Did I get it right? This was his advice. So, chapter 6. Huh? Namruchi. Yeah. So if I talk too long and there's no prasadam left, you know who to talk to. Okay, let's make that clear up ahead of time. Okay, so some of you know this, text 617. If you know, you can repeat it, we'll just do it once. Yuktahara viharasya, yukta chestasya karmasu, yukta svapnava bodhasya, yogo bhavati dukhaha. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all pains by practicing the yoga system, material pains, by practicing the yoga system. Please repeat. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Extravagance in the matter of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, which are demands of the body, can block advancement in the practice of yoga. It's interesting, Prabhupada uses the word extravagance. He doesn't use that word a lot, extravagance. Extravagance in the matter of eating, sleeping, etc. As far as eating is concerned, it can be regulated only when one is practiced to take and accept prasad, sanctified food. Lord Krishna is offered, according to the Bhagavad Gita 9:26, vegetables, flowers, fruits, grains, milk, etc. In this way, a person in Krishna consciousness becomes automatically trained not to accept food not meant for human consumption, or not in the category of goodness. As far as sleeping is concerned, a Krishna conscious person is always alert in the discharge of his duties in Krishna consciousness, and therefore any unnecessary time spent sleeping is considered a great loss of yaktar kalavam. A Krishna conscious person cannot bear to pass a minute of his life without being engaged in the service of the Lord. Therefore his sleeping is kept to a minimum. His ideal in this respect is Srila Rupa Goswami, who was always engaged in the service of Krishna and who could not sleep more than 2 hours a day, and sometimes not even that. And just who's paying attention? Did they say the standard in this respect? What word did Prabhupada use? Ideal, the ideal. Okay. It doesn't mean that's what we're going to do, but that's like, wow, look at that example, right? Exemplar ideal. Thakur Haridas would not even accept prasad, nor even sleep for a moment without finishing his daily routine of chanting with his beads. How many? 300,000, right? Names. As far as work is concerned, one should work in the IT profession. No, I'm sorry. It doesn't say that, sorry. As far as work is concerned, a Krishna conscious, some of you get a plug right here in the Bhagavad Gita, huh? As far as work is concerned, a Krishna conscious person does not do anything which is not connected with Krishna's interest. And thus his work is always regulated and is untainted by sense gratification. Since there's no question of sense gratification, there is no material leisure for a person in Krishna consciousness, no material leisure. And because he is regulated in all his work, speech, Prabhupada adds, speech, sleep, wakefulness, and other bodily activities, there is no material misery for him. Om Ganatamyandasha Jananjanashlakaya Chakshu Umi Tamina Tasmai Shri Gurame Namaha Shri Chaitanyamanovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here Krishna is saying, one who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. Earlier translation, one who is moderate, which also is a nice understanding, one who is moderate in their habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains. So it's kind of an important thing, concept. This is in the 6th chapter, of course, and Krishna goes on and talks about the yogi and how one, sits down in the forest and meditates, and their mind is completely free from sex desire, and they sit on the deerskin rug with a seat neither too high nor too low, all of those things. And then he explains one should be meditating on the super soul. And how does Arjuna end his discussion about you should go to the forest and meditate? What's Arjuna say? The modern language, he says, I'm out of here, Krishna. I can't do that. He says, the system of yoga you described is impractical and unendurable for me. But this is before that. So he's talking about those of us, and very much applies to modern day, those of us living in the world. Like we have 2 brahmacharis here, wonderfully setting a wonderful example of traveling and preaching and distributing their spiritual masters' books in glorification of Krishna. And they've been walking barefoot the whole way since Houston, 9,000 miles. And he's a big guy, but where's your Prabhu's here? His colleague is about half his size. And he does the walking and the preaching, and the other brahmachari, he carries the 400 sets of books on his back, right? Is that what you've done? Kind of like that, yeah. And then every once in a while they stop at a river and they eat some dry leaves, nuts and fruits. Luckily it rained here in Chicago, so the grass is green, right? Is that what you're doing? Kind of. Yes. And we even know, like in the 7th canto, right, it describes brahmachari life, dress in tree bark, right? Have you ever seen that section? It's in the scripture, so somebody can say, hey, Prabhu, upstairs, take off that opulent cloth. We'll go, where's Prabhu, Narendra Prabhu, he grows a lot of trees. He can go and find, he probably knows what kind of tree bark is the most flexible. We can make some nice tree bark clothes for you, right? So that's not the process for this age. So Krishna is helping us understand that here, because it's important if we're going to become Krishna conscious, or in the process of Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada says again and again, the gradual process of Krishna consciousness. And there was one devotee, I think it's Robert, at least that's the book, name given in Leelamrita thing, Bhakta Robert, who was one of Prabhupada's early associates, you could say, in North America. And it described that he was kind of many times saying to Prabhupada, I just want to become Krishna conscious so fast. And Prabhupada say, that's just, be patient. Everything takes a little bit of time. It's okay. So sometimes in our aspiration to become Krishna conscious, like we might read, the ideal is 2 hours a night. Prabhu Goswami slept. So some of us may think, well, I remember as a young devotee, I joined at 20, and I was thinking, okay, Lord Chaitanya took sannyas at 24. I think I can handle that. Got 4 years to get ready. And story I tell sometimes, I have a memory that, I guess Prabhupada at one point in time has said, you should eat about 6 chickpeas a day. So they used to offer chickpeas to the deities in the morning. They would bring out like the big, I remember it was big, kind of like stainless steel bowl with chickpeas and pepper and ginger and salt. That was the way. I never had chole till like years later. Cooked chickpeas, we never heard of that, but you get regular chickpeas soaked or something. And then they would count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because Prabhupada said 6. And if you got 7, you had to give it back. If you had 5, you didn't get enough. So, between sleeping 2 hours a day, chanting 300,000 names a day, and eating 6 chickpeas, we'd have a hard time spreading Krishna consciousness, isn't it? It'd be very difficult. And luckily, we understand that Krishna is very kind. So he comes, as explained, he comes in different ages at different times to give different processes. So Lord Chaitanya, we're reading this morning in the Chicago temple about Krishna killing Danvantakra. Is that right pronunciation? Dantavakra. Yeah, and just before he killed Shalva, and he's in it's in that part of the Leela, he's killing demon after demon, which was kind of fun because last night I got a ride to the program from the temple with a nice Russian origin lady whose son is Govinda, who's 11. And we started a conversation, and he was sharing with me on his phone all of the different I asked him, what do you like? And he said, I like mythological creatures. So he started showing me all these mythological creatures. Somehow there's some Japanese art, I guess, maybe Japanese cartoons or something. So he's a devotee kid, obviously. But I was telling him, well, that guy's got nothing to do compared to Trinavarta. You know who Trinavarta is? He was like, oh yeah, I heard of Trinavarta. So he looked him up, right? You look up anything on your phone, right? So he Googled Trinavarta. Oh yeah, he's the wind demon. I said, yeah. And then what about Agasur? He said, wow, he was big, etc. So we went down the whole list. So Krishna's killing the demons, very appropriate for 11-year-old boys, maybe up to 15 or whatever, and others as well, very attracted to that aspect of Krishna's Leela. But we know in this age, Krishna doesn't kill the demons. Lord Chaitanya didn't come to kill the demons, right? With Jai and Vijay, Lord Nityananda stopped him. Lord Chaitanya evoked his Sudarshan Chakra. And Lord Chaitanya said, no, you can't do that. It's not our mission in this age. If we kill all the demoniac people that are acting in demoniac ways, there'll be nobody left. And we came to kill the demoniac spirit. So that's the mercy of Krishna, and the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, and the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and all of his representatives to give us a process that works in this time and place that's practical for us. So Krishna here is explaining that we should strive to be balanced or regulated or moderate in our eating, our sleeping, our working, and our recreation. Just like it's wonderful to come here and to know that there was just a 2-week camp for kids. And I just got over the 1-week camp for kids. I was like still nursing my sore muscles from the camp at Gita Nagari. I'm glad I didn't know about this one. I would have felt obliged. But that's really beautiful because we know, like children, we made some big mistakes in the early years of our movement because we assumed children, some of us assumed, children should be held to the same standards as adults. And that was a big mistake because children can't be held to the same standards as adults. Children want to have fun. They want to play. What do you think, guys? You want to have fun, play, or you want to wash dishes all night? Okay, good. You got it. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect timing. That was really good. This is a cameo entrance by some of the youth here. And they're going to go downstairs and perform austerities. Right? Right? So kids want to have fun, and there's wonderful ways to have Krishna conscious fun. So we can Krishnaize the games, we can Krishnaize the camps, we can Krishnaize the bonfires, we can Krishnaize the sports. I remember as a brahmachari, so this is like pre-1986, Jai Pataka Swami came to the Denver temple where I was living. He was traveling at that time, and he was very healthy and very strong. Maharaj had a tremendous capacity for prasadam. He was a big person, I think you see pictures in the early days. He was a little skinny person. Yeah, in the very early days. Yeah, you remember that? Yeah, but he got big pretty early on. So we were playing. So he was a sannyasi, and they took all the brahmacharis. And we went to the local, I think it's Aurora Reservoir, and we played water polo with a sannyasi. And we were not quite sure if that was okay, but, it was like, hey, go for it. And I remember a few things, like Maharaj kind of helped us spiritualize it. I think they weren't goals, they were Nityananda points or something like that, you know. And I have this image of him, you know, walking through the water with the ball in his hand. It's kind of like, you know, you throw, it's kind of like soccer or something. Somebody throw the ball. Walking through the water with, like, as I remember, like one brahmachari on his left arm and one brahmachari on his right arm. Somebody else trying to tackle his left leg. So he's like, you can't stop him. You know, he's like the unstoppable force. And it was fun. You know, it was, I think it was the end of the marathon or something like that. And was very inspiring. I mean, I still tell the stories, you know, 40 years later, still remember that. We just went once, but it helped us to realize that Krishna consciousness, we're understanding Satchitananda, we're eternal, we're full of knowledge and bliss, and we're looking for that. We're all looking for that. And different types of meditation or spiritual processes or yoga that are given that emphasize too much austerity, too much tapasya, too much sacrifice, too much even sense control, is very difficult in this age, if not impossible. So therefore, Krishna is saying here, we should strive for that balance between work. I mean, almost everybody here, except a couple of very elevated sadhus, are grahastas, so almost probably everybody here goes to work. Maybe a few people are fully engaged in taking care of your kids or home, but most of us go to work. So Krishna says, he uses the word work. It's right in the Bhagavad Gita. And he doesn't say stop work. He says be regulated in your work, be moderate in your work. And you all have had experience. There's some young people, you know, they join the office or the team or whatever, and they're like gung-ho, and they want to be there all weekend and all night because they want to impress the boss and make a lot of money, get a lot of overtime, maybe just to pad their resume because they're going to quit in a month anyway. That's kind of the newer thing these days, right? Last few years. Or maybe they're going to stick around. But they're not modern in their work because their mind is fixed. They're going to somehow or other increase their status or their ability, their money, their sense gratification. And that's their goal. And it's hard to resist that because if you're in an environment with people where that's the culture, you know, and you say it's 5 o'clock or 5:30 or 6, whatever it is, 6 o'clock Friday night, I'm going home because, you know, maybe once in a while you have to work overtime. That happens sometimes. But in general, that I have boundaries. And I have boundaries because I'm going to work on my spiritual life too. And maybe that younger person, and they could even be older, hotshot person, maybe they get a new car more often than you do. Maybe you get a new car every 3 years, or every 5 years, or every 2 years. They get one every year. Or maybe they get 2 every year, right? But we observe that doesn't make them happy. You know, because sometimes we just observe, well, they advertise like that. It's like, hey, I got my new car. And then you say, like, yeah, well, why are you complaining the other day about how expensive it was to fix it when somebody ran into you at the stoplight? You're like so happy with these things. So devotees, Krishna is confirming that we need to create boundaries. And you're all doing that, and that's wonderful, and we need to continue doing that. And the strength of creating those boundaries comes in association. Prabhupada, one time, many times, somebody asked him, you know, how do you become a devotee? Many times he was asked that. One time Prabhupada shot back, he said, how do you become a thief? Interesting answer, huh? What do you think? How do you become a thief? Anybody want to know what the rest of it was? Associating with thieves, right? If you want to be a thief, you got to find a gang of thieves, and they teach you how to sneak around at night, and don't rob this bank or this gas station because they've got a bulletproof glass and you're finished, or whatever. They teach you all the police cars drive up and down that street every 20 minutes. You got to go to this one because the lights are out and there's nobody there. And whatever they know, you associate with them and you, like they say, learn the ropes of how to be a thief. So the same way, how do we become a devotee? You know, in our heart is associated with other devotees who help us make the right decisions as far as balancing recreation, work, like that, all the different needs of the body and the mind. So it's not that we ignore those things, but we do, just like with the kids. You know, I mentioned in the earliest years, we kind of made mistakes assuming the children can do the same thing the adults can do. Sometimes we make the same mistakes. We assume the grihastas should do the same thing that the brahmacharis do, or worse yet, that the sannyasis do. You know, I'm married, I've got a wife, I've got 3 kids, but I'm going to go to the temple every day for 4 hours a day because that's what the swamis do, or 8 hours a day. But that's because they're swamis. They don't have wives, they don't have kids. They don't have kids that are going to grow up thinking like, my father really worked hard, or my mother, and they were very dedicated to serving God, to serving Krishna, but they balanced it and they took time for me too. And I know that they made some sacrifices when they could have gone to the temple, and sometimes they just took care of me. And those kids also know that sometimes my parents were so dedicated to Krishna that they told me, look, now it's my temple time. You know it's my temple time, and we're gonna, you know, we're not gonna take the most expensive vacation wherever, because first we know it's not going to really make us happy, and second of all, because we're going to make some sacrifices. We're giving some donations to the temple, or we want to give some time to the temple. So the children, you know, it's explained. You mentioned, somebody mentioned earlier, Premananda, I think he did it. The children learn primarily the example of the parents. So if we have balanced lives where Krishna is important to us, but not exclusively important, we make sure we take time for our relationships with our spouse, relationships with our kids, take care of our own bodies, like Krishna says, recreation. We balance all those things, then we'll be able to, as Prabhupada tells us, gradually become Krishna conscious. And we need to be wise about that. I just met a devotee, Shankar Pandit Prabhu, in the Chicago temple, who we were together, brahmacharis in Denver, and like they say, you know, talking about old times. And part of the sad thing was, oh yeah, I remember so-and-so? Yeah, I remember him. Whatever happened to him? I don't know. Oh, you remember that one? He wasn't even, remember he led those really nice kirtans. Whatever happened to him? Gosh, I haven't heard of him in 20 years. Well, what about so-and-so? I mean, there were a few rare exceptions, but a lot of them was like, what happened to them? We don't know. They were enthusiastic 40 years ago. They were part of our team. We were good friends. But did they, and certainly whatever they did in their spiritual life, Krishna says, you know, is your eternal benefit, even the next lifetime. Prabhupada says you start out where you left off, even if you completely give up Krishna consciousness. But that's not really what we should aspire for, and that's not what we should aspire in our community. Better somebody who's like, you know, tortoise and the hare, right? Who won the race? Right? The hare took off like the rabbit took off like, and got way ahead and went to sleep. And the turtle or the tortoise didn't stand a chance, but they're like, boop, 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 and they won the race because they didn't give up. And they were steady, and they were focused, and they were fixed in what the goal was. That doesn't mean we should slow down. You know, the same way we shouldn't be overly passionate. We can't be overly, you know, in the mode of ignorance or overly lazy or slow. You know, I'm making $1 million a year, and I have a friend who's making $50,000 a year, and he gives $5,000 a year to the temple. Wow, I think I'll match him. That's not the best standard, you know. But the same way, you know, I'm making $50,000 a year, and I know someone who's making $1 million a year, and they give $250,000 a year. I think I'll mortgage my house and put my wife in complete anxiety so that I can match him. Either because I think Krishna will be happy with me, or because I want my name up there. You know, so I get my name up there one year, and the next year I'm gone. Right? I'm gone. My wife, if I'm not gone, she's gone. Right? And everybody else does, nobody blames her. Right? So this is what Krishna is talking about, being moderate in our Krishna consciousness, that we deepen our conviction of the need to become Krishna conscious. We associate with devotees, we study, we understand the benefits, we learn to really see. I mean, this whole world is nothing but a school to become Krishna conscious. Every single thing out there is another example of why we need to become Krishna conscious. You know, everything. It's a really, really, really tough place. And if you're Krishna conscious, then it's kind of like if you're a patient in the hospital, You know, and you walk in and you're scared and you're nervous and you don't know what's going to happen to you and all these different uncomfortable situations, and pretty much you want to get out of the hospital as quickly as you can. But if you're a doctor, you go in the hospital, it's a great place. That's where people get fixed, isn't it? And, you know, they're rolling in new cases every 10 minutes, but, you know, it's a limited example, but there's a sense people are coming here to get helped. So you have a much more hopeful, positive view. You're in the same hospital. So in the same way as devotees, you know, we can look like there's a tree at this one window. We can see the tree and we can think about how miraculous it is that just by sun and water and a seed and some dirt, this tree is coming. And maybe even it's producing apples or oranges, or probably no mangoes in Chicago. Maybe not that. But some places mangoes. And I mean, how that's miraculous, and that's obviously an example of Krishna's mystic power. And at the same time, we can see, wow, look at that tree, like Premananda was telling me, they were chanting out in front of their tree the other day, and 4 little baby rabbits ran out. So it's like, wow, look at the mystical cuteness of this world. And then a couple days before, there was a squirrel that died. It's like, wow, look at the horrors of this world. Like she said, his stomach was all bloated and he was finished. And no. I thought you said something. Okay, sorry. Okay. Okay, her squirrels had died gloriously. Some of the squirrels, I've seen squirrels in the middle of a highway that did not die gloriously, you know. Maybe unless it was underneath their car on their way to come to Naperville to sell Shiva Ram Swami's books. Then there would be glorious death for squirrel. But anyway, the point is that, you know, we were meant to see both things, see Krishna's hand and the beauty of the world, and at the same time see it's a very unpleasant place. It's you know, Krishna says in the Gita, one who perceives the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease. So we have to see that, and at the same time see that it's a hospital, and everything we experience, and at some point to actually become so advanced as Krishna strives to experience both the suffering and the happiness of this world as mercy. There's a Christian mystic, I just saw a quote from her recently. I think you pronounce her name Simone Weil. I think she was European. And she said something like that. I'll paraphrase it. You have attained love of God when you see both the suffering and the pleasure of this world with gratitude. You know, to see everything that comes our way is coming from God, coming from Krishna, and it's all to help us. So that's what we aspire for, and Krishna's given us some guidance here. So we can stop there, pause. Any questions or comments? Or when I was at Gita Nagari, she was the camp director. And she had a big bullhorn. And when you heard that bullhorn, you snapped too. So I'm still in that same genre. So I'm looking at her like, you know. You did, really, with all the devotees during the evening program, or with at the camp. Oh, I was worried there. Okay. Any questions? Yes, Prabhu.
So nice to be with you, Prabhu.
Yes, nice to be with you again. We were roommates at Gita Nagari. Yes. And we both promised we wouldn't tell anybody how much we snore. We're going to protect each other's reputation.
No comment to that one. So, Prabhu, you know, something that I've been journaling about recently is there seems to be this idea of balance. You know, we have this model, comfort zone, stretch zone.
Panic, yeah. Yeah, I think that might quit. I think they're recording, so they want to wait and get the new batteries there. So he was saying, I've been journaling lately, and this idea of having a balance, he said, we hear this example of, you know, there's the stretch zone, which is generally described as a good place to be. Then there's the panic zone, which is we're trying to do too much, and we get burned out. And then there's the comfort zone, which is kind of like the mode of ignorance. We don't put the endeavor in, and we're just like a couch potato. So those three there. And then?
My contemplation is there seems to be value in certain points in life to go past the stretch zone to actually, make drastic changes. I'm thinking, of course, Prabhupada's...
Drastic. That's a drastic word to say drastic.
Yeah, maybe that's a strong word.
That's a strong word.
Maybe slightly less than that. But some kind of, significant adjustment to one's life that takes us off balance temporarily, to then finally come back to something that's more of balance. And I can see there's certain situations in life where that might be useful. Like in Prabhupada's life, he did that. He
got on the boat.
Yeah, well, that's one. Or leaving his family, and the many steps in life where we might make those kind of big decisions. Like we have brahmacharis here. At what point in time they probably did that? Like they made some significant change in their life that was not, at the time of making that change, was probably not. It was a very balanced decision, so to speak. So, what are your comments on that, Prabhu? As you've seen,
I think that's still the stretch zone. In my understanding, panic zone is when you try to do something that really is going to be unhealthy for you spiritually, psychologically, physically. It's more than you can do. Last night, I went to a home program with the Russian-speaking devotees in Chicago. Left there about 10:30, got back about 11:30, got in the door, and there was a devotee was in a wonderful mood to talk. That went till about 12:10, and I don't know what happened next. I actually have no memory, but I went to sleep at 1:05. I honestly don't know if I fell asleep in a chair or what, but all I knew is there's no way I'm going to get up in 2.5 hours, especially because, go to Mangalartik, and then it got canceled, but I was supposed to have a conference call at 6, and then stuff all day long. And I thought, I've experienced that if I do that, because I want to, that's the panic zone. For me, that's the panic zone. 2.5 hours, that's the panic zone. It's unwise. So I think stretch zone is when it's a little uncomfortable, it's a little awkward. You kind of, jump into Krishna's arms and you hope he's going to be there to protect. He's there, but you hope he's going to be there the way you'd like him to be there. But you're not like risking your whole life and soul for something. I remember devotees who gave all their money to Krishna. I heard a story today. Somebody, in the early days, whatever they got an inheritance, they gave it all to Krishna. And then 2 years later, they realized, I'm not really cut out for living in an ashram, and I didn't finish my degree, and I don't know I'm going to get a pretty low-level job, and I have no money because they gave it all away. And then they left regretful, Or, again, sad, there are some parents of now 50-year-olds who are full of regret because they feel they should have spent more time with their kids. But in their naivety, sincerity, very sincere, surrendered souls, they just said, well, okay, my child's 2 years old, but I'm going to go on Traveling Sankirtan and sell books or raise money for 3 months at a time. And you come back and your child's 3 inches bigger. That's not what we're supposed to do. But it was so that's panic. It was harmful for them, was harmful for their kids. So I think stretch is good. We should be in the stretch zone. We still have to finish the temple here, right? Isn't it? Phase 17 now or something like that? Whatever it is. I mean, all those gorgeous pictures of the beautiful temple, it's like, and now we have, once you're inside the existing temple, it's really nice. But it ain't there from the outside. So I hope everybody here and others remains in the stretch zone. That, we want to make sure we build the temple in the next phase. But it should mean that somebody thinks like, okay, I'm going to, borrow every penny from every relative I ever had with no plan how I'm ever going to pay him back. But I know Krishna will protect me. That's not what it's about either. Is that okay? Yeah. Yes. Can I get some water? Maybe in something other than a plastic bottle? Please. Yeah. Not a plastic glass. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So
Thank you for dancing so nicely.
Thank you. Prabhuji, I had a question where you said that people get hung up on that regret, and sometimes that regret becomes like, you become mourn about it, like you're hung up on it so much that you don't see that, you don't accept that regret. Like it's hard to accept that regret. How can one start or achieve something, or like take a path towards acceptance instead of mourning about the regret?
Okay, let me see. I'm not so good at technology, maybe, but let me just see. Somebody sent me a reduced recording of Srila Prabhupada. It's something that I've seen posted many places, but I never heard it before. So let's see if we can I try to play this over here and see? It's Prabhupada speaking, and then there's a little musical background, and hopefully you can hear.
Everything belongs to Krishna. What you have got? What is
Can you hear now?
your thing?
I'll do it here. I have it, Prabhu.
It's just 1 minute. We can get it.
I have it here.
And what is the value of your things? There is nothing. Feeling. Krishna, kindly take it. Most loving Father. But I have brought this thing for you. Please take. Please will be absent. Don't be papa. All is giving me Krishna. Thank you.
So we can hear Prabhupada's voice there. He himself is expressing, Krishna, what do I have to offer you? I have nothing. I have this. And then, his voice breaks and he starts crying. So in a sense, it's kind of regret that Krishna is so great, I'm so small. What do I have to offer him? So we all feel some sense of that in terms of our limitations of what we can offer Krishna. Maybe some regret for things we've done, things we've said, things we didn't do, things we didn't say. But those are kind of things we have to see, to start with philosophically, that I'm eternal, and whatever's happened in this life or maybe even previous lives, Krishna's very, like Jagai and Madhai, they attacked Lord Nityananda. Lord Chaitanya was ready to chop off Madhai's head, right? It was Madhai, chop off his head with the Sudarshan chakra, and he surrendered. And he said, okay, maybe you can go downstairs with her, Prabhu. Maybe you can go down with her? Yeah, you go with her. It's more fun down there anyway. If I had a choice, I'd go too. I'm kind of stuck here right now, so I can't do anything else. But yeah, he was ready to kill him. Then it was like, okay, but then it's described. Nobody mentioned it ever again. It was all forgotten. That's the nature of the Supreme Lord who we are worshiping, who we're trying to understand. He's not vindictive. Some traditions talk about it. There's one famous sermon, sinners in the hands of an angry God. Like one of the first pieces of, quote, great American literature, foundation of our country. Sinners in the hands of an angry God. So we are sinners in the hands of a very merciful God. you know. So Prabhupada, there's a few places Prabhupada says we should feel regret. If you don't feel regret, then you just keep doing the same thing. So we should feel like, boy, I make a lot of mistakes. I hurt a lot of people. I hurt myself. I don't want to do that again. I'm going to try and try and try. And I can go on because I know Krishna is going to accept me. He's going to forgive me. And we should try to have, in our communities, we need standards. We need rules. Somebody's abusive to somebody or physically violent, that we can't tolerate. But other shortcomings, we have to also learn to be forgiving of others as well. So the same way we can't hold on to regret, we shouldn't hold on to grudges. Some of us may have a problem with that. That's like, I don't have grudges because so much. I have a few, but not so many. I don't remember things. Other people you talk to, they remember everything that went wrong from 45 years ago. And some of us, we have different challenges. That's not our challenge. But whatever our karma is, we have to just kind of move beyond that. And I always like to remember that example Prabhupada gave, like a child. When you see a child smaller than these guys, when they're first learning to walk, they stand up, they fall down, they stand up, they fall down, they stand up, they fall down, and they hit themselves in the nose and they cry and the mother runs over it. But then they keep trying, and they will walk. They will walk. So that's our philosophy. We do have love of Krishna in our heart. It's not, as Prabhupada says, that wonderful recording, it's not an artificial imposition on the mind. It's who we are. It's not that we're like lost souls trying to become Krishna conscious. We are Krishna conscious devotees trying to remember, reconnect. Is that okay? Okay. Yes.
Prabhu, we often hear from sannyasis, and that's wonderful. And I just want to appreciate that there's a unique flavor that you bring to Naperville with your presence in your classes, being the father and the grandfather and the advocate of children that you are. So just want to appreciate that and thank you for keeping us in your circuit of travel and under your supervision. So
one of the first Bhagavatam classes I ever gave, the temple president came to me afterwards and said, that was really good research, but could you maybe have found a few verses that said positive things about women? I found them all, gateway to hell, lusty, this, that, I found all of them. The other one's like, oh, there's another one. No, I'm not going to quote that. It's okay. Kind of early on. And I was there in 1976. I didn't know what was going on. I remember kind of watching all these big guys, like some I remember they were like bigger than life. When the GBC, under the influence of some of those sannyasis who are wonderful devotees who later completely regretted what they did, who Prabhupada severely chastised and later wrote books about it, who came to convince the GBC, all the householders have to move out of the temple, all the women have to move out of the temple, and we're going to maintain a pure environment for brahmacharis and sannyasis, because that's what the movement's about. And I just reread an article by Vishaka. I didn't remember this, but she said one of those sannyasis was actually teaching that we should not preach to women. Because for every woman who becomes a devotee, you will lose one man. Because men mean brahmacharis and future sannyasis. And, every time you let a woman, another guy leaves. But, so you live through enough of those mistakes, or you hear of enough of those mistakes, and, we don't want to reinvent the same mistakes. Yeah. So there's some of my regrets, I was progressive because when I first became president, it was like, okay, women don't have to sit in the back anymore. They're on the left side and they're on the right side. It never even occurred to me that maybe japa time, the women should be upstairs half the time and not in the basement the whole time. It never occurred to me. And now it's like, what was I thinking? Aside from, I really like to chant upstairs, right? What was I thinking instead of my own preferences? So, we all have those kind of regrets. We need to be more open-minded and appreciate the contributions of others. And also we see, I mean, a lot of the kids, the people, though they were kids back then, they're 40, 50, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old now. You know, they're the ones that we need to keep the movement going forward. So anyway, but thank you. I appreciate that.
And a question.
Okay. Now the real thing comes. It's like we teach in communications, don't use the word but. You know that?
Yes, I
Yeah,
do.
I really like the class, but, right? Yes.
So knowing your background of interacting with interfaith communities a lot, and because you mentioned Gitanagari, in that area, there's Amish and Mennonite families that are very much traditional.
Everybody knows what Amish and Mennonite families are?
And here we're speaking about moderation, and our philosophy is one of Yukta Vairagya. And sometimes we do see that we go a little too far out on the,
Which side?
we go a little too far out. And
On the Vairagya
limb,
side?
on
Or
limb, and, we can...
Now, nobody's supposed to realize that this is a follow-up question from her spouse, okay? He was talking about sometimes, and now, okay?
I'm just...
This is not a marriage counseling session going on here. Just put that aside. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm wondering, what is the pivot that keeps us, continuing on this journey of Krishna and not taking this in moderation, everything's okay in moderation, a little too far?
You mean like we slow down too far? Or because your husband asked the question, we push too far. Is it slow down too far or push too far?
Sometimes we slow down too much.
Yes.
In the comfort zone.
Yeah.
Moderation. Too much yukta, not enough vairagya. So
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying, yeah. Because it goes both ways. Sometimes we push too far. I was mentioning all your money away, whatever. And sometimes on the other side, well, first of all, you won't get the prize, right? Because Krishna already loves us. Krishna always wants us to be back with him. Krishna's already bending over backwards, to use the modern expression, in the form of he comes as Lord Chaitanya. He sent Srila Prabhupada. He sent so many Vaishnavas. He's got so many scriptures that are there, and the deities are there, and prasadams there, the temples there. And we're like, a little bit. I don't want to take too much. So Krishna's like, okay, great, no problem. You do whatever you want. That's our free will. If you want Krishna, then he's a person. We have to demonstrate to him that he is the most important thing in our life. And then he reveals himself more and more. We can't artificially do that. We shouldn't artificially do that because we can't last, for one thing. Maybe the most important reason. But we should push ourselves, because if it's like anything, you want to be a sports star, you got to push yourself. You want to buy a new house, and you don't just walk in and go, let me buy it. You got to go through all the hassles. You got to get your finances together. You got to make the reports. You got to, right? It's so many things. You want to buy a new car, it's a hassle. There was one young Russian devotee, when the first Russian devotees were coming to America, he got his new job. He was living in the brahmachari, and he moved out of he was still living in the temple. He was trying to transition. He came back when they said he bought a new car. He was like so excited he bought a new car. And somehow or other, I kind of asked him, well, let me look at the contract, because he was too happy. I thought, you're not supposed to come back happy from a car dealer, And I'm not going to exaggerate, okay? I just remember two things particularly, and there was a bunch, but he prepaid for an oil change for life for the car, okay? And you may not believe me on this, but in front of Krishna, this is the truth. They sold him a life insurance policy at the car dealership, okay? That's one of those things, like they say, they saw him coming, I don't know what else. There was one or two other things. And I told him, take that thing back. This is ridiculous. He was like, oh, really happy. And I got life insurance. I got oil change for life. Because he had a new job. So they're just looking at his, his expected projected income. So they saw him coming. He wasn't wise. He wasn't mature. So Krishna's wise and Krishna's mature. And he's looking to see. This is our philosophy. It's what our teachers teach us. We came here because we chose to be separate from Krishna. By the mercy of Krishna, he's given us a chance to be reconnected. He reveals himself to the degree that we show ourselves wanting to connect with him. And if we want him this much, he'll reveal that much. If we want him that much, he'll reveal that much. And because it's the material world, it's dangerous because you give this much, well, that leaves a lot of space for other stuff that we're not completely in control of. So that's kind of the risk factor that's always there. So we have to push ourselves, but again, if we don't push ourselves, we're not going to get Krishna. And if we push too hard, we may, like a rubber band, right? You stretch it too far, it snaps back the other way. So that's why we need association. We need people encouraging us. We need, I don't know if Premananda does this, but I was in Washington, D.C. just before they opened the temple. And one of the members kind of walked in, and Chaitanya Nitai Prabhu, who's a fantastic fundraiser, development director, somebody came in that had a computer out, and he said to this man, he said, we really need another $10,000. You should give 10,000. And he said, let me check with my wife. And he said to the guy on the computer, he said, put him down for 10,000. It was done deal. And the man just smiled, and he was very happy because he knew his wife was going to be okay with that too. And but he knew how to push him. Maybe if he said 50, he would have said, forget it, and damaged the relationship. But he knew he could do 10. Just an example, financial one. So we have to also be, pushing ourselves a little bit. And not too far. That's what this whole thing's about. Yeah. Thank you. Is that okay? Okay. Last question, Premananda?
So, it's okay, I don't need to know.
No, they're broadcasting. It's recorded. There's people watching you, Premananda.
Anyway, I will say it. So, how do we know? I mean, everybody has got some, stretch limit, but there is no way of knowing, who has the real capability to do this in a balanced way. Somebody may think that I can do 20 different things, and if when we look at it and we see that there is so much of an imbalance, is there a need
in ourselves or others?
Others, you can see, it's one thing. It's good to be enthusiastic, but enthusiasm, if it overflows, and you can see that it could. Looking at it, you can feel that it may have some negative impact. So, is it good to advise or just leave the people to just experience it? And
it all depends on the relationship. I'm sure there's some people. I remember when I was a temple president, there was one or two or few devotees when, if I saw a problem, I could talk to them on the spot, explain the problem. They were very happy to hear it, and they'd fix it as soon as they could. I'm thinking of one or two people like that. And there were others, I had to be a little careful, kind of catch them at the right time. They weren't, too busy doing, their minds distracted. And there were other people I remember literally carrying things in my mind for 2 or 3 months, waiting for the right opportunity that they'd be able to hear, like when they would come into my office all upset because someone just did something really nasty, and you would hear them out and have a chance to say, well, we all need to look into the other things that we've done. And I remember a few months ago, you did this similar thing. Do you remember that? Like, but I couldn't have told them that any other time. So that's a big part of it, is understanding what's the needs, interests, concerns of others, and how much they're able to listen. And, it's like with kids, those of you that are parents, it's with same thing as, temple leaders and professors and maybe team members at a company. Sometimes you just have to be patient, and people are going to learn through the school of hard knocks. There was a devotee in Denver again. We were building our Gofinda's buffet, and this devotee was kind of custom designing some, like the serve out tray. So we were making them ourselves for some reason, beautiful with all wood, and he was tightening something down, and it was, a piece of glass about 6 feet long. And I remember standing right there. I called him No Problem Dale. Because anytime I'd ask him, Dale, you think? No problem. Dale, what about no problem? Hey, Dale, no problem. So I remember I was standing there with no problem, Dale. And I said, Dale, you need to be careful you don't tighten that too tight, right? And he said, no problem. He turned the screw and the whole glass went, whole thing broke in half. So I just walked away. You know, what are you supposed to say, you know? Yeah, no problem. Dale, call me when it's fixed so we can open the buffet again, right? It's so, you know, sometimes people just have to learn on their own accord. But we individually, we should try to create the mentality where we really, really, really want to hear good instructions. You know, we talk about that in management of the ISKCON society. We should act with integrity. You know, we should walk our talk. We should be transparent. There's no secrets. And we should be accountable. And being accountable means we have to try to learn to be open to critique. We don't want to create an environment that everybody's like backbiting, criticizing each other. That's hellish consciousness and experience. But we should be open for critique. You know, some of these brahmacharis come up later and say, Anuttama, that was a pretty good class, but you know, you really screwed up that Sanskrit when you tried to read it. Can I tell you what the pronunciation of those words are? I can't, you know, if I'm them telling, hey, well, come on, you're from Hungary, you're talking to me, an American? Yeah. Or some other perversion of that. I mean, that's terrible, right? I mean, I should think, right? But, right, Chanakya Pandit, one should take good instructions even from a fool. So any good instruction that comes, and just imagine if we develop that consciousness in ourselves and in our community, that because we know we are fallen souls, in the sense we've forgotten Krishna, we're so much bewildered by attraction to things that aren't good for us and false egos. But we create an environment where anytime someone tries to offer me some advice, I'm like a sponge. Wow, I need every bit of help I can get. You know, geez, you were a little harsh with that person. Oh, tell me how I can do better. Not like, what do you mean harsh? You know what they said to me? Harsh? You want to know harsh? I'll show you harsh. Right? That's going to slow us down. That's going to slow us down a lot. You know? Is that okay? Okay. She just sent one of those temple president gestures. She looked at her watch. She looked at me. She looked back at her watch. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. All right, so we'll stop there. Oh, yeah. Thank you. There's a really nice 5-minute video about Shiva Ram Swami explaining the books that are here, and then they can talk about this wonderful books that they have to share with us here. So, yeah, thank you.